My nose! In the amniotic. Amniotic? Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Disclaimer, before this video starts, I just want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health professional or a nurse or anything like that. Also, I'm not a YouTuber or a blogger. I'm not really about this life, so please bear with me. I would really appreciate that. So, hello guys. My name is Richie, I am 23 years old and I'm from the UK, and this video is going to be about gastroschisis. The reason I am making this video is to try and raise awareness of gastroschisis and just be able to share my story. If you're a survivor and you want to hear someone else's story, that's what I'm here for. Or if you're an expecting parent of a child with gastroschisis, I'm hoping that this video might be able to answer some of the questions that you might have, or put some of your concerns at rest. Or if you just don't know what gastroschisis is and you want to know what it is, then keep watching. And if you know me and want to know what the hell has been going on with me in the past few weeks, I'm going to explain everything. I'm going to do this in 2 parts because otherwise I'll be here for days. This first part is going to be about my birth and growing up as a child with gastroschisis, and then the second half of the video I'm going to be explaining what's happened to me recently down to complications of gastroschisis. So let's go. What is gastroschisis? Basically, in the most simple of forms, gastroschisis is a birth defect, and it happens when the abdominal wall doesn't develop properly in the baby while it's still inside the womb, which means that there's a hole left where bowels, intestines and sometimes other organs are left exposed. So they basically live in the amniotic fluid that's in the womb at the time. So all these organs are exposed and they stay exposed until birth. This means that there can be damage to these organs, and as soon as the baby is born they will need quite a severe operation. But lately, with technology and everything, you can pick up gastroschisis very early on in the pregnancy, and I actually have my baby scans with me to show you, where you can actually see all my little sausages hanging out. And yeah, so I have with me my baby scans. Oh. So bear in mind I'm 23, so these are like the pretty basic scan pictures, and nowadays obviously we have 3D scanners. There's so much technology, it's really easy to see on scans, even in my picture here. So here I am, here's little old me, and this little grey matter here, this is my intestines in the womb. So as you can see, it's really easy to tell from the get-go pretty much that a baby is going to be born with gastroschisis. In the UK, 1 in 3,000 babies are born with gastroschisis, and in America 1 in 2,000 babies are born with gastroschisis. At the time when I was born, the hospital where I was born weren't equipped to deal with my condition, so I had to be transferred to another hospital, which was the Birmingham Children's Hospital. I actually have pictures before my surgery where, you know, I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like. When the baby is born, the organs are wrapped in like a cling film to protect them. Obviously this is really important to be able to save as much as the organ as the doctors can and in the best condition. So I'm going to grab a picture now and show you. Ooh. Oh. So here I have a Polaroid of me. This is a picture before I went for my surgery. So I was born 3 to 4 weeks premature. This is because towards the end of the pregnancy I started struggling, so I needed to be delivered pretty fast there and then. I was delivered through cesarean section, so I wasn't born naturally for obvious reasons. And when I was born, I weighed 4 pounds, so I was tiny. I could fit in my dad's hand. So here is the picture, and here you can see, okay, discretion. You can see my intestines and you can see the cling film, but I think it's important to show what it looks like. So, hoping you can see this. This is an old school picture, guys. So this little pocket here of all these sausage things, that's my intestines, and it's wrapped in the protective cling film. So there I am, and that is what it looks like. So my mum, because of her cesarean, had to stay in the hospital where I was born. And like the soldier that she is, after 2 days after her operation, she got a taxi. She got up and walked to a taxi to get to the Birmingham Children's Hospital, obviously because I was having my surgery, and that's what happened when I was born, guys. During my operation, I had to have a blood transfusion, and for everyone who's interested in donating blood, I really encourage it. So many lives are saved by donating blood, and if you are interested, I'm going to leave a link below just so that you can find out, if you did want to do that, how to do it and where you can do that. I had my operation and everything went well. The operation basically is just to be able to push all the organs back in, be able to remove anything that might have died or been too badly damaged, and basically just push everything back in and sew it up. So this does leave a scar. In the second part of this video, I'm going to show my scars. If you're wondering why I'm going to show my scars, I think it's important, especially because I've recently had surgery, which means that I have quite a few scars now. A lot of the time, people born with gastroschisis are described as having designer belly buttons, and this is because a plastic surgeon or a surgeon who can deal with that kind of thing will try and create a belly button for the child. If it's not possible, it's not possible, but it's always best if they can try to do that. And luckily I had an amazing surgeon, and my belly button scar, I was in love with it. Growing up as a child, I used to get it out and show everyone because it looked like a star. So I always used to tell people I had superpowers, you know, a star belly button, I'm an alien chasing people on the playground. So recovery, I was in intensive care for 5 weeks after my surgery until I was allowed home. I was being fed through tubes, and you know, it was kind of like, although everything in the operation went well, because of how rare it was at the time, it was kind of a constant touch and go. But I made it, and I made it home. Once I did get home, I still wasn't being fed as a normal baby would, and there were certain things that I obviously had to do differently. So for instance, in order to poop in my nappies, for the first 3 months I had to have suppositories. I had to be given suppositories to be able to pass everything through, and dirty nappies for mommy and daddy. So I was still very small, and I was still premature, and I was still quite weak. So it was just a case of being a little bit extra careful. And I also had regular health visitors and appointments and doctors and all that jazz. So by the time I was around 6 months old, I was then able to go to the nappy toilet myself without using the suppositories, and then I was able to begin starting eating properly. So yeah, that was the first 6 months. Just like normal babies, I had regular sort of progress meetings and things up until I was 6 years old. And I actually have here my little red book that you used to get back in the day. I don't know if they still do these, but this has got every single record of me in this little thing over here. From 1 to 2, I was eating normally and everything was fine. Children born with gastroschisis, 90 to 95% survive now, and are expected to live a normal life and, you know, be as active as everyone else and be able to do everything that everyone else can. So here I have this little chart. Again, I hope you can see this. So the only thing with me was being premature was that they had to keep an eye on my weight because of my eating for the first year. So this dark black line here, that is where a child is meant to be, and down here tells you the months where that child is expected to reach by that age. So this black line here is what I should have been, and all these crosses are where I actually was. So I was slightly underweight, not drastically underweight. I think once it falls to this line here or under, that's when it becomes quite, you know, a problem, let's say. So at the start I was quite problematically underweight, but again I was very premature and everything that had happened, so it's understandable. And yeah, my weight remained quite low the whole time. So this takes me up to 14 months. During the rest of my childhood, so from 6 onwards, I barely noticed anything wrong, kind of thing. I was probably more active than the other kids at school. I was always really sporty, and you know, I didn't really face any problems after that. The only thing that I did notice was that when it come to meals, I was never really able to finish a full meal, so it kind of ended up developing my own eating habits. I would probably have breakfast, so I don't know, toast and cereal or whatever, and then I would probably have 2 lunches during the day. So I'd probably have like a sandwich and a piece of fruit and a bag of crisps or something, and then I'd have that again later on, and then at night time or something I'd probably have a snack rather than having a big dinner. Even to this day I still can't digest big heavy foods and dinners like carveries and nah mate, can't do that. And also one thing I did notice was I couldn't tolerate red meat. Red meat's quite hard to digest as it is, and whenever I did find that I ate it, I used to get belly aches and stuff. Nothing drastic, just like, oh mum, I've got a tummy ache. And that's really it, really, growing up. The only thing that did get to me as a child was my weight. Like I said previously, I was always very slim, skinny, mager, whatever you wanted to call me back in the day. I was always underweight and I was always short. I like to say petite because, to be honest, for my height, it wasn't that. I didn't feel like I looked ill. When I was a teenager, you know what teenagers are like and being at school and things, I wouldn't ever say I was bullied because I wasn't ever bullied, but comments were often made about my weight, about me being anorexic, are you bulimic, you know, people asking me these kind of questions. And that's really it, really, growing up, until I was 21. That's when things started to go a little bit AWOL for me, and I'm going to speak about that in part 2. If you are a survivor of gastroschisis, I do recommend watching part 2. Because I've been fine for so long, I didn't think this would come back and haunt me. I thought I'd be fine, and you know, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but watch part 2 of this. I'm going to explain what's happened recently. So that's the end of part 1. I hope I haven't rambled my mouth off too much, and I hope this has been able to answer any questions anyone has about gastroschisis or any concerns. If you're a survivor, I would really like to hear your stories as well in the comments below. I'm going to leave some links below to some forums, Birmingham Children's Hospital, who are an amazing team, all the doctors and especially the nurses who don't get enough credit, I don't believe. Without you guys I wouldn't be here. And to every other person who's sick, we're so lucky to have an NHS in this country, and I'm just really grateful. I'm also going to leave my Instagram in the box below, so if there's any unanswered questions you can reach me through there. And yeah, please like this video, let me know if I'm doing an alright job. And yeah, that's it. So I'm going to eat. It's my first day out of the house, since I've been in recovery from my operation. So yeah, check out part 2 for all that story palaver. So yeah, bye guys.